No powder stripes is identified, and they'll go into the powder stripes later here. There is a gunshot entry wound in the lateral right chest, and we keep going on down here with the dorsal entrant wound there. That's number 8. Number 9, I should have given you the numbers. The gunshot exit wound of the adeno vertical right forearm is located 15 centimeters below the level of the right elbow. So he sustained injuries to his hand, arm, and thumb. Now, they go on to talk about the heart weight. That's 400 grams. That's normal. The vascular system, the aorta and aortic system are not unremarkable. That just means they're okay. The lungs, acute injury to the right lung had already been described above. The lungs together weighed 600 grams. The liver, 1,250 grams, is pale red and normal consistency. The binary tract, the gallbladder and binary tract are normal. The pancreas is normal. The gastrointestinal tract is examined and found to be normal. The spleen, the weight is 150 grams. The lymphatic systems are normal. The bone marrow is normal. The kidneys appear grossly normal configuration and weigh 300 grams. The adrenals are well supplied with lipid fluids, and the cranial cavity, the acute gunshot wound of the head, had already just been described above. The spinal cord, the upper spinal cord, is viewed from the cranial cavity is non-remarkable there, and that is signed, excuse me, Gershom Northfield, MD, the assistant medical examiner. In the summary sheet, nothing here that we did not go over in terms of skull fractures, etc. there. This is in that particular part of it, and his death was due to homicide. There is no doubt about that. Microscopic exam, skin and muscle, sections of tissue from the right hand show multiple fragments of skin and a single fragment of skeletal muscle. There is a darkly pigmented foreign matter present in the superficial surface of the sternum cormon, and also embedded in the sternum cornum of the skin fragment. A mixture of pigment and non-pigmented foreign particles matter is present within the dermis of the skin fragments and within the skeletal muscle fragments there, and again that's signed by the medical examiner. And here's toxicology. Negative for alcohol here, isopropyl, methanol, etc. Blood screen, amphetamines, no. Negative antidepressants, cocaine, methadone, etc. Opiates, it's all negative there. Somewhere it was positive for cannabis being marijuana. And Oxycontin. These are the things they screen for, and Dr. Braden talked about that. The urinal analysis, negative for cannabis quantitation. So this is by Dr. Christopher Long. So this is the crux of Michael Brown's autopsy. Let me just go to some updated material here on the marijuana. Now this is more of a discussion. The measurement of marijuana in the bloodstream indicates only that someone had previously used drugs, but cannot give the insight into the drug's effect on behavior. That's according to pharmacologists and experts in pharmacology and psychiatry. Post-Dispatch obtained the toxicology reports and reports from the autopsy of Mr. Brown. The reports showed a level of THC, it's the active agreement there, at 12 nanograms per milliliter of blood. Levels of inactive ingredients of the drug are also detected in the bloodstream, which is meaningless. The toxicologist reports are generally used to determine whether an individual has used drugs, not to identify the effects. Numbers do not, in my experience, predict behavior or even completely explain it. That is from Dr. Michael Bozak. He's a psychiatrist and addiction medical specialist at the Mayo Clinic in Colorado, where recreational use of marijuana is legal. The blood stream at 5 nanograms per milliliter. Anyway, from the National Highway Safety Administration, which is totally means difficult to establish relation between a person's THC blood or plasma concentration performance imperative there. That is from Dr. Jeffrey Michael. He recently testified to Congress. So in other words, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch there, experts agree more research is needed. That's been around for the last 30 or 40 years. The toxicology reports of Mr. Brown indicate a comment that THC was detected in his blood, defied impairments. Dr. Long of the University of St. Louis, who produced the report, declined to be interviewed. That's outright slanderous. They're trying to, this Christopher Long should be sued, because what they are trying to do here is slander Mike Brown. It's not scientific. It's just racist conjecture on the part of these characters that the St. Louis County has brought out there. And let me finish this up and we'll explain to you where this all stands. Several experts say they were surprised by the notation of impairment in the toxicology report because of complicating factors in measuring the drug. It is unclear whether the drug tests were performed on whole blood or plasma. We don't know that. The concentration in blood plasma will measure about twice as high as the concentration in whole blood. That's from Alfred Stumblis of the Ohio State College of Pharmacy. Blood samples also have different readings in living people compared to dead bodies. Autopsy samples taken from the heart are about 50% higher than samples taken from the femoral arteries in the thigh. Difference indicates the drug's redistribution in the body after death. So comparing the postmortem blood concentrations of THC with an impaired studies in living subjects is highly questionable. Dr. Stubis said alcohol impairment is not as accurately compared to marijuana. As a person drinks more, their blood level, alcohol blood level rises. This is the opposite true of marijuana, where the level of the drug peaks as it is inhaled. One can positively correlate high blood alcohol content with greater degree of impairment, but with THC we don't have that. That is from Paul Armento, the Deputy Director of the Organization for Reform of Marijuana Laws. Well, this whole thing here, to sum this up, by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, hand-fed to them by the St. Louis County DA's office through their apparatus to slander Michael Brown to justify why they would not render a verdict. What they're basically saying is there's a struggle. Mr. Brown struggled with Wilson in his patrol vehicle, and by being in there, his blood got on Wilson's gun, and Wilson's gun went off, and that's what shot him through the finger and through the arm. And there's no dispute about he and Mr. Johnson, his associate, ran, and Wilson ran after them, and then Wilson shot them. That is not disputed. Wilson testified he was in fear of his life. He's a liar. Dr. Sharpton called him out. But what does all this mean? This is just to dirty up any potential, I'd say, a civil pool in St. Louis. But what you have here is a little bit different. We just covered the debate in Florida with Charlie DeTuna Chris and Rick Scott, the governor there. Well, Scott was talking about how he appointed a special prosecutor, talked with the family, etc. They went over everything, although the thing was rigged against Trayvon Martin in Sanford. But they went through a different protocol. What has happened here, old Jeremiah Nixon did not appoint a special prosecutor in this case for political reasons, none of them been political reasons. Now he's got some kind of panel on race. As dysfunctional as some other things to see, we were looking on Facebook of one of the internet platforms for broadcasting, and some fella established what he called independent platform, and then he announced today from the CEO of this organization, we won't mention it, but you can guess who they are, has been on duty for 9 months, and there have been various problems with the network, well documented there, and they have a forum that's in its beta. I assume it's in its beta. They've invited some, disinvited others, and this forum on Facebook will disappear. Well, this is the same thing with the Ferguson grand jury. It's being led by a DA that could indict literally a peanut. So thus he has that all in control. His history is also well documented. The man is a racist. His father was murdered by an African American. He has relatives in the police force. So in a normal circumstance, an individual like this would just recuse himself. That's remove himself voluntarily. Now, he has not done that. They've asked Nixon to do it. Nixon has not done it. And so they go with this case. So it's a foregone conclusion that this grand jury will not indict. And then we have a remarkable situation coming from, quote-unquote, some anonymous federal official saying basically the same thing, but not giving the autopsy out. Federal official comes first, then autopsy. Who is the federal official? General Holder, since the Obama administration likes to find out who these snitches are, should investigate that and find out who this person is and jail this person, because those kind of federal investigations are classified until released to the public, because it's only investigative material. It's not a final conclusion. So if they want to go after, quote-unquote, some whistleblower, now is the time to go after him. What does this mean to the people of Ferguson and the larger community that's behind Mike Brown? Nothing. Attorney Crump has spoken to that is virtually ridiculous, and this is where they operate. Daily there are demonstrations at the Ferguson PD, the county PD in the city of Ferguson, 70 days, and they still go on. Dr. Sharpton, the last of this month, will conduct a 4-day demonstration that will go through November the 3rd. And of course he'll take off and go on his get out to vote for Election Day. But this will not go away. It will only intensify. How people react to this great cover-up, this slanderous situation. And I noticed a feature of Mr. Brown in his graduation cap. We saw some racists there said teddy bear with drugs. They don't know that. Mr. Brown could have been smoking the marijuana, the THC, a few days. The half-life there is there for a few days. So what we tried to do here was spotlight some of the autopsy report and where it was going with Mr. Brown. It's a long, as one would say, situation in terms of where this case is going, where the national case is going. In the debate in Florida, they asked about Trayvon Martin, which is in there. Now, this is on the front page 15 hours ago. We talked about this. The murderer Wilson said Brown charged him. Now, something about the blood, we don't know. Actually, Mr. Brown bled. His blood could be in the vehicle. It could have been like a ferment placed in there. It could have been in there. That's really of little consequence. No doubt he was shot in the thumb, but this murderer Wilson fired 6, 7, or 8 different shots. Hit him in the thumb, hit him in the arm. He was fleeing for his life. Evidently, witnesses verify that. And this guy went after him and brutally murdered the man. Now, here's what the situation will end up in, whether or not they decide to prosecute or not to prosecute the St. Louis County county operation. We'll have to see. And here's a question in one of their forums. Will Darren Johnson be tried for lying to police by Holder? Now, this is This is silly. I won't even go into that.